The hallway around Miriam collapses, folding in on itself as if the very fabric of reality has unraveled. The walls crack and splinter, sending shards of glass-like reflections scattering across the floor. Her heart races as she stumbles, her breath ragged, trying to make sense of the nightmarish scene unfolding before her. Claire's face, her mother's face, distorts with unnatural speed, her eyes turning black as her smile widens, stretching farther than any human smile should. It's a grotesque, distorted reflection of everything Miriam has ever known. The echoes of her mother's voice flood her mind, her words now a dissonant chorus. Miriam, it's too late for you. You can never escape. She doesn't know where to run, where to go. The hallway keeps shifting, folding inward, the reflections multiplying, each one more terrifying than the last. The air is thick with the stench of decay and something far darker, more malevolent. She can feel the archive, the unseen force that has been chasing her for so long, closing in, suffocating her. Miriam's fingers tighten around the key, the metal now burning with an intensity she can barely endure. She looks at it, but it's no longer just a key. The darkness is bleeding into it, twisting and reshaping it into something far more sinister. She sees flashes, visions, of Lucas, of Claire, of herself, each image fractured, overlapping, torn from different moments in time, like the pages of a shattered book. Miriam, you've come home, the distorted voice of Claire whispers again, her voice now a cruel echo, mocking her every step. But home was never meant to be a place of safety. With trembling hands, Miriam holds the key to the door that seems to be her only way out. She knows she has to open it, but what will it unlock? Will it be freedom or something far worse? The weight of that question bears down on her, but there is no turning back now. The walls pulse and sway, distorting, pulling her in every direction. Miriam's pulse quickens, and with a surge of adrenaline, she pushes the key into the lock of the nearest door. The moment it clicks, the room behind it opens with a sound that is both final and fatal, a deep metallic groan that echoes through her soul. A vast, dark space stretches before her, filled with twisting, swirling shadows. As she steps inside, the temperature plummets. The very air seems to thicken, pressing against her chest. She can hear whispers, soft at first, then louder, growing into a cacophony. The memories, the voices of the past, all interwoven with the archive. She can feel them now, trying to consume her, to pull her into the void. But she doesn't stop. She presses forward, determined to face whatever is waiting for her, even as the memories and reflections swirl around her like storm clouds. And then, at the center of the room, she sees it. The heart of the archive, a mirror. It stands alone in the center of the room, massive and imposing, its surface smooth, without any imperfections. But as Miriam approaches, she sees it flicker, like a glitch in the system. The reflection that stares back at her is not her own. Someone else, something else entirely. The figure in the mirror is tall and faceless, a silhouette surrounded by shadows, a being that is both her and not her. I told you, Miriam. The voice is her own, but twisted, warped. You are the archive now. The world tilts. The ground shakes beneath her feet. She staggers, trying to hold on to something, anything, before she collapses. The figure in the mirror steps forward, its face still hidden, but Miriam can feel it, can feel its presence. She knows this thing. She knows what it is. It's her. Or, rather, it's everything she's ever been. It's the archive. You've been a part of it all along. The voice says again, its tone cold, almost pitying. You are not separate from it. You are the vessel, Miriam. Miriam stares at the figure, her own reflection flickering in and out of focus. The realization strikes her like a lightning bolt. The archive is not just a system, a force. It's a living thing. It has always been alive. And now she is part of it. No, she whispers, shaking her head, her chest tight with terror. This isn't me. I can't be the archive. But the figure in the mirror shakes its head, its faceless gaze heavy on her. You were always meant to be. Suddenly, The mirror cracks, a jagged line splitting the surface from top to bottom. The reflection warps, flickering between her image and something else. Something darker, more alien. And in that moment, Miriam feels a pull, a connection, as if the mirror is calling her, beckoning her into its depths. Without warning, the mirror shatters completely, the pieces flying toward her like shards of glass. Miriam screams, her hands raised to protect herself, but it's too late. The shards pierce her skin, drawing blood as the darkness floods into her, consuming her from the inside out. The voices grow louder, overwhelming her thoughts. She feels herself slipping, losing herself to the darkness. And yet, through it all, one thought remains clear. She has become the archive. As Miriam's world collapses, she becomes the vessel for the very entity she has been running from. The twist is complete. The archive is now part of her, and it is not finished. But what happens next? What does it mean for her future, and for those around her? The world teeters on the edge of a new nightmare, and the only question that remains is, will Miriam be able to escape the very thing she has become? Stay tuned on this part where the horrifying truth behind the archive is finally revealed. The world shifts violently around Miriam, as though her very soul is being torn apart by the unseen forces now controlling her every thought, every breath. Her body trembles, not from fear, but from something deeper, an overwhelming sense of helplessness. The archive is not just a system, a network of memories, or a collection of secrets. No, it is something far older, far more powerful than she could have ever imagined. And now it owns her. The pain is sharp, like thousands of needles piercing her skin, but it's not her body that hurts. It's her mind. The thoughts of those she loves, Claire, Lucas, flash before her eyes, distorted and fading like ghosts. Their faces are out of reach, slipping through her fingers, unreachable in the nightmare she's now trapped in. The archive is consuming them all, piece by piece, and there is nothing she can do to stop it. Miriam stumbles through the shattered remnants of the room, the glass from the mirror crunching beneath her feet. The shadows move, twisting like living things, lashing out at her with invisible hands. She reaches for her head, clutching at her temples as the voices grow louder, more insistent. You are the archive. You are the vessel. You are the key. It's all she can hear. It's all she can feel. Her skin feels foreign, like someone else is wearing it, and she can't escape the overwhelming sense of loss, of fading into something unrecognizable. There is no Miriam anymore. There is only the archive. A new memory forces its way to the surface. She sees Claire, her mother, standing at the edge of a dark forest. The same forest that she, too, had once wandered through, lost and searching for something she could never find. The moment she had forgotten, buried deep inside her mind, is now front and center, pushing everything else aside. The voices echo it in unison, like a chant. She's here. She's always been here. She was the first. The memory of the forest lingers in her mind like smoke, a heavy fog that she can't escape. The shadows around her twist and writhe, forming shapes that are not quite human, their faces hidden in the blackness. They reach for her, pulling her into the void. But then, a sudden flash of clarity pierces the darkness. She sees the archive's true form. It's not just a system of surveillance, not just a machine. It is a living entity, one that has been alive for centuries, feeding on memories, on identities. It is the very fabric of the world's darkest secrets, and now Miriam is part of it. She feels its weight in her bones, its tendrils reaching deep into her soul. In the distance, through the chaos, she hears the faintest whisper, Lucas's voice. Faint but clear. Help me. The sound is like a lifeline, a thread reaching out from the abyss. Miriam lurches forward, her legs unsteady, her mind spinning. She has to find him. She has to stop this. She has to save herself, and the people she loves, before it's too late. The camera clicks on, the low hum of fluorescent lights buzzing in the background. Detective Elisa Marlowe leans forward in her chair, a hard look in her eyes. She doesn't flinch at the unease in the room, the discomfort that fills the air with tension. The monitor next to her flickers, showing footage from the night of the incident, the night Miriam disappeared. Her face is strained with exhaustion, and her hand is shaking as she reaches for the file in front of her. Inside, a report, damning evidence she's kept hidden, her last resort. The report details Miriam's disappearance, the break-ins, the surveillance footage, all of it pointing to one chilling truth. The archive is real. There's a pattern, Elisa mutters to herself, tapping the file. And it's not just the surveillance. It's the memories, the people involved. It's connected. But how? She watches the screen, her eyes narrowing as a grainy clip flickers across the monitor. Miriam, her face blank, walking through the hallways of the institution where she was held. And in the background, faint but unmistakable, the shadowy figure of the Watcher. A cold shiver runs down Elisa's spine. She recognizes the figure, the same one seen in the footage recovered from the previous case, the one that had haunted Lucas's every step. The Watcher. But now, it's not just following them from the shadows. It's everywhere. And it's close. So close. As Elisa watches the footage, the door to the room opens. Officer Dan Reyes steps in, his face grim. He places another file on the table. This one labeled, urgent. "We found something," he says quietly. His voice is tight, a warning in his tone. "What?" Dan hesitates, eyes flicking to the file in her hands. It's Claire. Her latest recorded statement. It's not what we thought. She's been trying to reach us. But it's not just to clear her name. It's a warning. Elisa feels a chill wash over her as she flips open the new file. It's a transcript, written in Claire's handwriting, but the words, something about them feels wrong. They're frantic, disjointed, like Claire was writing in a rush, as if time was running out. The last sentence, scrawled in all caps, stands out. "He's coming through the mirrors." Elisa's heart races, the pieces finally falling into place. The mirrors, the reflections, have always been the key. The Watcher, the archive. They are all part of the same terrifying reality, a web of twisted connections that lead back to one horrifying truth. Miriam isn't just the victim anymore. She's part of the entity. She's the final piece. Miriam's footsteps echo in the empty hallway, her body moving like an automaton, no longer fully in control. She is driven by one singular thought, to find Lucas, to stop whatever is happening to him. The door creaks as she pushes it open, and the room beyond is dark, the air thick with dust. The shadows press in, suffocating her. "Lucas!" she calls, her voice trembling as she steps inside. There is no answer, but then a sound, a soft whisper, a rustling from the corner of the room. Miriam's heart skips a beat as she turns, her breath caught in her throat. And there, standing in the darkness, she sees him, Lucas. But it's not Lucas. Not anymore. His eyes are wide and empty, like two pools of black ink. His face is pale, his features hollow, as though his very soul has been drained. And behind him, the reflection of something else, the Watcher. Miriam takes a step forward, reaching out for him, but something stops her. She feels it in the air, the shift in energy, the presence of something far older, far more dangerous. It's too late. The Watcher is here, and now he has them both. The case is far from over, and the nightmare is only just beginning. The archive's reach is endless, and its power is far greater than anyone could have imagined. As Miriam and Lucas slip further into the darkness, the question remains. Can they ever escape the grip of the archive? Or is it too late for them all? Stay tuned on this part, where the final confrontation unfolds, and the true horror of the archive is finally revealed. Miriam's heart pounds in her chest, every beat echoing like the final drum of a doomed march. She can feel the pull of something ancient, something insidious, tightening its grip around her mind. Her body, though still her own in some sense, feels detached as if it belongs to someone else, someone who no longer has control. She stares at Lucas, his once innocent face now twisted, hollowed out by something beyond human comprehension. The Watcher stands behind him, just as silent, just as menacing as the shadows themselves. His eyes, Those terrible, unblinking eyes seem to pierce through her soul. Miriam feels a scream building in her throat, but it dies before it can escape, swallowed by the suffocating atmosphere in the room. "Lucas!" Miriam whispers, her voice cracking. She reaches toward him, desperate to bridge the gap between them. But as her hand stretches closer, she sees something else. A reflection in the cracked mirror behind him. It's her. But not quite. This Miriam is different. Her reflection is distorted, her skin pale, her eyes completely black, empty of life. It smiles back at her with an eerie, knowing expression, as though it's been waiting for her. Waiting for this moment. Miriam's breath catches in her throat. No, she thinks. Not this. Not now. The archive's hold on her tightens, and she realizes the truth. The truth she's been running from all along. She was never meant to save Lucas. She was meant to become the archive. The Watcher speaks, his voice like a whisper carried by the wind, slow and deliberate. "You are the key, Miriam. You always have been." The words cut through her, sharp and final. She tries to look away from the reflection, but she can't. Something in her forces her to meet its gaze. She feels the darkness swallowing her, pulling her further into the void of the archive. Her mind reels, memories blurring, fragments of her life coming undone like pages ripped from a book. "Stop!" Miriam pleads, her voice barely a whisper, as though speaking louder will make her break free from this nightmare. "Please, I don't want this." But the archive is relentless. The reflection in the mirror begins to move on its own, stepping closer to the glass, its smile widening. The Watcher, too, seems to grow larger in her vision, his form stretching, his presence filling the room. He watches her, an all-knowing observer of her downfall. Lucas doesn't move, his eyes still hollow, empty. He's lost. He's gone. Miriam feels the weight of that loss pressing down on her chest, the crushing realization that she's failed him. She's failed them all. But then, a voice, another voice, pierces the silence. "Miriam!" It's Claire's voice. Miriam's head jerks up, her heart leaping in her chest. Her eyes scan the room, but Claire isn't there. Instead, the mirror in front of her ripples, the surface of the glass shimmering like water. Claire's face appears within it, pale, weary, but still Claire. "Claire!" Miriam chokes out, her voice shaky. Where are you?" Claire's image flickers, distorting, as if she's trying to break free from the glass. I never wanted this for you. I never wanted you to be part of this. It's too late for me. But you still have a chance, Miriam. You still have the power to fight." Miriam feels a surge of something. Anger, hope, maybe even a spark of defiance. She grasps onto Claire's words like a lifeline. How? How do I stop this?" The reflection in the glass sneers, the smile growing impossibly wide, its eyes black voids that seem to pull Miriam into them. The Watcher steps closer, his long fingers outstretched, the air thick with the impending horror of the archive's full force. Claire's voice breaks through the fog once more. "The mirrors. It's always been about the mirrors. The archive lives through them. You need to destroy them. All of them. If you can break the connection, you can break free. But you have to do it before it consumes you, Miriam. Before it takes everything." Miriam's mind spins, the pieces falling into place. The mirrors, the reflections, it's all connected. The archive uses them to reach into their world, to twist the fabric of time and identity. She realizes that this isn't just about stopping the archive. This is about her identity, her very soul. Without thinking, she turns, her eyes locked on the cracked mirror before her. She feels something deep within her stir, something that has always been there, buried beneath the surface. Her hand trembles as she reaches for the shards of broken glass. "No!" The Watcher roars, his voice shaking the walls. "You can't escape." But Miriam doesn't listen. With a scream of defiance, she slams her palm into the glass. The mirror shatters, the fragments flying in all directions. A pulse of energy, dark and violent, rips through the room. The shadows roar in anger, twisting and writhing as the connection to the archive begins to fracture. For a moment, there is silence. Then something shifts. Miriam feels it, the weight of the archive's presence loosening, its grip on her mind beginning to break. She gasps for breath, her body trembling with the aftershock. But the Watcher isn't gone. The darkness hasn't fully released its hold. You think you've won? The Watcher's voice is low, a hiss of cold venom. You are just another link in the chain. The archive is eternal. Miriam stumbles back, her heart racing. She's no longer sure if she's in control of her own body, but something inside her tells her this isn't over. She's made a choice, but the consequences of that choice, she can't even begin to understand them. And then, from the shattered mirror, Lucas stirs. His eyes flicker, slowly returning to life. His hollow gaze shifts toward Miriam, and for the first time in what feels like eternity, there's a spark of recognition. A glimpse of the boy he once was. But then the darkness comes again, sweeping in like a flood. The shadows stretch across the room, a suffocating blackness that threatens to devour them all. The Watcher steps forward, his form now impossible to distinguish from the very shadows themselves. The room begins to collapse in on itself. Reality itself starts to fray, the world distorting as if everything, time, space, identity, is unraveling. Miriam's heart pounds. Her eyes lock with Lucas's, and for one brief, fleeting moment, she sees something in him, something familiar, something that could be hope. But it's too late. The darkness closes in, consuming everything. And then, nothing. The story leaves more questions than answers. Is the archive truly defeated? Or is it merely biding its time, waiting for another crack in the world to open? Will Miriam and Lucas ever be free of its grasp? Or are they forever trapped in the twisted web of memories and reflections? The case remains unresolved. The terror is not over. Subscribe to this channel and stay tuned for the next chilling chapter in the mystery that never ends.